Hey everyone, I'm Joshua Orro, the Mustang Prince, and welcome to Mustang Prince Orro Reports. Now, if you may recall, last October, I blogged the underrated Batman Beyond Return of the Joker, and I still think it's a great Batman movie next to others, like Tim Burton's Batman, along with Batman Mask of the Phantasm, and of course, Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy. You may also remember, during that video, I mentioned that the Joker would be the main focus in a new big-screen supervillain movie. But, is this new movie worth checking out? Or is it equally as messed up as The Killing Joke? Well, we're about to find out. Released on October 4th, 2019, the movie is Joker. Well, let's get started, folks. Forever alone in a crowd, failed comedian Arthur Fleck seeks connection as he walks the streets of Gotham City. Arthur wears two masks, one that he paints for his day job as a clown, and the guise he projects in a futile attempt to feel like he's part of the world around him. Isolated, bullied, and disregarded by society, Fleck begins a slow descent into madness as he transforms into the criminal mastermind that we all know as the Joker. So, what do I personally think of the movie? Well, let me make this perfectly clear. This is not a family movie, or a comedy to be precise. Yes, supervillain movies are interesting, and it was well put together, but it's really nuts, disturbing, insane, and serious. So, in other words, it does not top my feelings for the Batman movies that I've already mentioned. But, let's move on to Mustang notes. Director Todd Phillips conceived Joker back in 2016 and wrote the script with Scott Silver throughout 2017. The two were inspired by 1970s character studies and the films of Martin Scorsese, who was initially attached to the project as a producer. The graphic novel Batman: The Killing Joke from 1988 was the basis for the premise, but Phillips and Silver otherwise did not look for specific comics for inspiration. Principal photography lasted from September to December of 2018 and took place in New York City, Jersey City, and Newark. Also to note, Joker was the first live-action Batman movie to receive an R rating from the Motion Pictures Association of America due to its violent and disturbing content. Joker premiered at the 76th Venice International Film Festival on August 31st, 2019, where it won the Golden Lion, the festival's highest prize. And, speaking of Venice, me and my parents were just there just a few weeks ago. Unfortunately, the movie also generated concerns of inspiring real-world violence, with the movie theater where the 2012 Aurora, Colorado mass shooting occurred during the screening of The Dark Knight Rises refusing to show the movie. Now, aside from the story being very well written and the setting in Gotham looking great, some parts of the movie are very thought-provoking. In fact, this whole movie makes other supervillain movies like last year's Venom, along with Despicable Me, Batman and Mr. Freeze Sub-Zero, along with Megamind and Suicide Squad, look a lot like better movies. But those previous 3 films are for another time on my show. However, there are some scenes that I did enjoy, like the stand-up comedy, for example, and I did like the scene where we see a young Bruce Wayne years before he became Batman. And there was one part of the movie that made me think of Christopher Nolan's Batman Begins. But I won't say what it is due to spoilers. On the other hand, there are a couple scenes that I did not like in this movie. For example, I did not like the scene where Arthur got jumped by a bunch of street muggers, and of course, there are some death scenes as well as mentally insanity scenes. Plus, the scene where we see a mob of protesters in clown masks is very political in my opinion. Anyway, now that we're done with Mustang notes, let's move on to the cast. For Arthur Fleck, aka Joker, Joaquin Phoenix, whom I remember as Kenai from Disney's Brother Bear, was hired for the role. In this story, Arthur is a mentally ill stand-up comedian disregarded by society, whose lack of success causes him to become criminal. Now, Phoenix has been very interested in a low-budget, character study of a comic book character, and he said that the movie feels very unique in its own world in some ways, and maybe it might as well be the kind of thing that scares you the most. Also to note, Phoenix lost 52 pounds in preparation, and he based his laugh on videos of people suffering from, pathological laughter. He also sought to portray a character that audiences could not identify with and did not look to previous Joker actors for inspiration. Instead, he read a book about political assassinations so that he could understand killers and motivations. In my opinion, Joaquin Phoenix's acting as the Joker was very well done, and as mentioned earlier, I did like his stand-up comedy scenes and the parts where he laughs. Kind of reminded me of Heath Ledger, as well as Oren Scarvello DDS from Little Shop of Horrors. However, I kind of think his makeup was a tad different compared to the other Jokers. I mean, yes, the white face and red lipstick and the green hair was spot on, but the triangles around his eyes and his red nose is kind of new to me. Plus, is it just me, or does his dancing in the Gotham streets seem pretty similar to the late Michael Jackson's moonwalk? I don't know. Next we have Murray Franklin, played by the great Robert De Niro. Best known from The Godfather 2, Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, The Adventures of Rocky and Bullwinkle, New Year's Eve from 2011, and DreamWorks Shark Tale. Now, Murray is a talk show host who plays a role in Arthur's downfall. De Niro said that his role in Joker plays homage to his character, Rupert Pumpkin, from The King of Comedy from 1983, who is a comedian obsessed with a talk show host. Arthur's love interest and neighbor, Sophie Dumond, who is a cynical single mom in the film, is played by Zazie Beetz, who got to be in Deadpool 2. Anyway, Zazie Beetz said that it was a real honor for her to work with Joaquin Phoenix due to her being a huge fan of his. And she learned a lot while working with him on the set. Finally, we have Frances Conroy, whom I've talked about in my blog of The Tale of Despero, playing Arthur's mom, Penny Fleck, who in this story is both mentally and physically ill. Other actors in the movie include Brett Cullen as Thomas Wayne, Douglas Hodge as Alfred Pennyworth, and Dante Pereira Olson as a young Bruce Wayne. And now let's move on to my final words. Overall, Joker was a good movie with an interesting story, a well-written script, and excellent acting, but the movie is still insane, thought-provoking, serious, and disturbing. Plus, with a movie like this, I don't think every DC Comics fan will enjoy this movie. Plus, if this movie does get a home media release, well, I think I would rent it from Netflix, because I don't really think I would buy it, though. As for my rating, I'll give this movie a 60% out of 100. You know, now that I think about it, I hear that there will be a new DC Supervillain movie that'll be released in early 2020. But I'll get there when the time comes. And if so, I hope it'll be easier for me and my family to sit through. Anyway, that's all for now. Be sure to join me again next time, because I think it's time to talk about a zombie movie that just turned 10 years old this year. Mustang Power.